Welcome to an episode on over 25 Airbnbs that I stayed in 2021. Wow, you guys, my mind is blown in every single direction, and I have so much gratitude. And if you click the link, you will be led to the video on YouTube, and you'll be able to see directly from my Airbnb profile the Airbnbs that I stayed at. So you can search for them yourself. And then also I did do dedicated videos on all of them. So you can see more details on them as well on my YouTube channel. So first is Dragonfly Properties. I stayed at Dragonfly Properties in La Fortuna, Costa Rica for a month. Originally, I wasn't sure how long I was going to stay, but I ended up staying longer and I got a great media rate, and in fact what ended up being some free nights as well. So the first couple nights, because by the time I booked, because I was, if you know that I left Atlanta on December 31st of last year for what I thought was going to be 2 years and travel to 7 continents. You likely also know in some of my episodes and blogs from back then that I was literally waiting for my renewal passport up until the last minute. I literally didn't have it in my hot little hands till a day and a half before my flight, but I had faith. So I was communicating with the Airbnb owner back and forth. So for the first couple of days, I stayed at the Blue House, which if you're following along on the video, then you see it, obviously. It's a 2-story house and has a separate adjacent room that you can also book. You can see the wooden stairs, 2 beds upstairs in the loft. It's great for kids. Or if you're running a more familiar type of retreat, it also has a mini kitchenette inside. And the decor is really, really stone-based. And then there's a second bedroom inside with twin-size beds and a second bathroom. And it is a small space. And then I transferred to my pink house where I ended up staying about a month. And if you follow me on Instagram, you can see also Instagram reels there. I always share, and I also have guides on my Instagram as well as my blog and my show of top 10 in these destinations. So you guys just saw, if you're watching the video, then you see prices like $66 or $100 plus, and those were not the rates because you can see in my blogs on travel costs to Costa Rica, those were not the rates when I went the beginning of January of 2021. They were lower. Plus the rates drop typically, at least with this owner, when it is a long-term stay. So always check on Airbnb, always ask, especially if you're a media influencer, then she definitely works to a degree. Like she wouldn't give it completely for free yet, but I did propose to her to work with ongoing influencers. So hopefully that will happen. And the houses, you guys, at Dragonfly are amazing. And if you haven't listened to my show with Shelly and her 3 other friends that ended up falling in love with Costa Rica when they came to visit La Fortuna and setting up this incredible Instagrammable property with a pink, blue, green, and yellow house with a pool, it is absolutely amazing. And you definitely should listen to it. So then my second house, I had a small bed or a queen size bed ish in the middle, or more like a full, and then a small wardrobe area, a full bathroom, and a desk that looked out to a huge window directly to the Arnal volcano. Somebody pinch me. Hammocks on the property, the pool, a community kitchen. Highly, highly, highly recommend. And Shelly and the ladies are absolutely amazing. Then I ended up, after La Fortuna, Costa Rica, going to Monteverde, Costa Rica. And something just happened on the video. So bear with me a second. Or with the Airbnb site, it cluttered everything up. So let me see if I can find it in the midst of this. There it is. Okay. Super weird. Why I did that. Okay. So Monteverde, I found this little casita in the middle of a cloud reserve, you guys. If you don't know about Monteverde, I highly recommend you check out my 1 day and top 10 guides. It is an incredible part of Costa Rica that is very, very different from what you typically see as far as beaches, because you are in more of central Costa Rica in the middle of a cloud reserve. So I had a private terrace, balcony, depending on how you call it. I had a full kitchen, a mini like dining-ish area, a small couch, a bed, a partition. And yes, the space was absolutely amazing, and a pretty big bathroom with a shower, not a bath. And loved my stay there. Ended up staying about 3.5 weeks. And after Monteverde, I ended up going to Manuel Antonio, and I stayed at an incredible Airbnb. Oops, that's not it. An incredible Airbnb. Really, really, maybe about 30 minutes outside of Monteverde, and really close to Playa Negra, or one of the Playa Negras. And this one is, right now she's publishing it around $40 a night. It has a breathtaking balcony and view from a high point. Not a mountain exactly, but just about, I think it was about 1,000 feet above sea level. And you guys, I went up there with a taxi. It was so hilarious because they recommend a 4x4, and every single person before me that visited Diane's place, and Jorge is the property manager, went up either in their own car or a 4x4, and I was the first one to go with a taxi. I stayed there about 2.5 weeks. There's a waterfall about maybe 10, 15 minutes walking distance. Beautiful ocean views. It's a super cute little casita, almost like a tiny house with a couch, a dining/desk area, a big screen TV, a kitchen with a toaster oven and a microwave and a coffee pot, and a large refrigerator for Central America standards, and a brand new queen size bed, and a really nice bathroom. And the surroundings are just indescribable. I felt so peaceful staying there. And both Diane and Jorge are super sweet. If you know and have listened to my weekly series, you know that I previously shared on a pretty crazy experience I had with the prior Airbnb, and they more than redeemed it. So after that Airbnb, I concluded my first 3 months traveling in Central America and Costa Rica with a beautiful room overlooking a garden, a colonial home in Escazú, which is a suburb of San Jose. It's known to kind of be like the Beverly Hills of Costa Rica, so to speak. A lot of expats live there. And again, definitely tune into read my one day and my top 10 guides. So as you guys are following along in the video, you can see it's a beautiful outdoor terrace. I often worked out here. Amelia, the host, is absolutely amazing. Her dogs are absolutely incredible and so sweet. Also, this inside dining area, living area, you can tell the home's very eclectic. She is also a world traveler. She also creates jewelry, so you can see how beautiful the home is and her taste. The kitchen, which I had access to cook in as well. You can see how there's an atrium / literally garden in her home. Breathtaking. And then this, you can see, is one of the Airbnb rooms that she runs, the smaller one. I didn't stay in that one. It wasn't available by the time I booked. So I stayed in the one once you cross the garden, and then you pass by this beautiful living room area. It's kind of like her African room. And then you pass by, keep going down this hallway, or down a hallway, and end up into my room. This is the room that I stayed in right here. I also often worked out of this desk area, so it is bigger than the other room. There's also a fridge in there, and she gives you snacks. The bathroom is super cute, as you can see. And this is snapshots of her jewelry store, which I also shared the jewelry on my YouTube channel as well. And so that was my first 3 months in Costa Rica. And then after that, I ended up going to Guatemala, and my first stop was Antigua, Guatemala, and another colonial type place. And this one also, Dito gives or at least she did at the time, pretty great discounts for longer term stays. So those of you watching my video right now, you're going to see this, but I'm going to voice over this. So on a monthly, for example, the accommodation that I just put in, it was about 28 nights. She gives a $300 discount. And for the entire month for the room, you pay $600 to give you a gauge. And I stayed about 2 weeks. So that lets you know. And the colonial home has a beautiful garden in the middle. It's literally close to the center of Antigua. It's walkable to everything. I felt like I was literally in a movie all year. Big king size bed that can be separated into 2 twins. I also had a small desk inside, a huge window overlooking the courtyard, the colonial courtyard as well, and a beautiful colonial bathroom. This is one of the most beautiful bathrooms I've ever been in, with just the tile work, the Spanish influence, absolutely incredible. And it has a separate doorway and entrance, and then also a community kitchen that you can participate in and cook in, and that I did almost every single day as well. After I left Dito's place, I went glamping in San Marcos, La Laguna. That was also when I did one of my fasts earlier this year. And if you're curious about that and or glamping, you can definitely check out both my blogs on each of those and my shows in about April of 2021. And then on the video on YouTube, you can also see the pictures of the glamping spot. And glamping, if you guys don't know, is basically, instead of camping, it's called glamping because the word combines glamorous and camping. Because like this one, for example, is a beautiful bell tent. The twin beds inside are some of the most comfortable mattresses I've ever stayed in. So now they added your own private fully equipped kitchen, which did not exist when I stayed there, and it has a beautiful bamboo shower, which I absolutely loved and enjoyed. So they extended the outdoor space as well. And I met the host very, very briefly, but didn't really talk to them. And like I said, I was doing also my fast during those 4 days. So, but it was a beautiful stay, walkable to everything in San Marcos, La Laguna. It's one of the smaller villages around Lake Atitlan. You guys, if you don't visit, if you're thinking about just different things for your bucket list, I highly recommend Guatemala and Lake Atitlan. It's breathtakingly beautiful. So after I left San Marcos, I went across the lake to San Pedro La Laguna. And also, if you want to know more about Guatemala, definitely check out my 1 day and top 10 guides too. And I stayed at a beautiful digital nomad chalet. And if you're watching the video on my YouTube, you can see the view of the lake. And yes, this was my view for a month. And it's very, very Guatemalan. You'll be able to see from either the guides and or the Airbnbs, and small little couch, small little kitchenette, almost like a mini efficiency refrigerator table that I worked and ate at. Bed in the corner, huge windows all around. Another desk, I also worked at that one. Water was provided as well, and this one was also a great rate. So, for example, for the month right now, let me see what he has right now. And of course, you guys do not like hold me to this, because this, when I stayed, it was about $500 or $600. And now the rate, including all the Airbnb fees, everything is $750. And keep in mind with this one, and you can see it on my YouTube video on the specific place, it also has incredibly high stairs to navigate to get to that view that aren't necessarily the easiest or safest to navigate, especially with luggage. And thankfully, Daniel helps. But, depending on your health conditions, depending if you want to do that and have that as part of your adventure, that's something to consider. And you would definitely see that all over the reviews. And then the last place I stayed in Guatemala was a beautiful home in Guatemala City the last couple days with Rodrigo and Claudia. And they're super sweet. He's in real estate investments, and their daughter was also a missionary. Now she's interior design. Their son works with T-Mobile, and I had a private room and private bathroom. And Claudia does import-export with jewelry. And they're a beautiful family. The house is beautiful. You can see from the images. I had the most incredible breakfast, learned the difference in taste and incredible health benefits in cooking only with coconut oil there too. And my room was literally, queen size bed, desk, and then my private bathroom. And they have a beautiful outdoor garden. They also help with pickups from and drop offs from the airport. And they have a beautiful outdoor patio and a at-home gym. So those are the Airbnbs that I stayed at across Costa Rica, across Guatemala. And stay tuned because in the next episode, I will be sharing about Tulum, City of Mexico, Bacalar, Valladolid, Cancun, and then how and why I ended up back in Costa Rica. So if you leave a review, guys, for the show or comment on YouTube, I will shout you out. And also, if you share on stories at Katrina Julia Fit, at Fit Life Creation, if you end up using any of the travel tips or going to any of these places, definitely would love to know, or anything you learned that you were surprised about. And again, if you've got specific questions on the destinations, definitely check out my 1 day and top 10 blogs. That's what it's there for. And as always, remember, create, transform, and inspire. You are born to.